Welcome back. Now you're probably wondering why I'm doing another video on these LED side marker lights. Well, I'm doing a video for two reasons. Number one, this car, it's had them in here for 2 years now. This is my daily driver. I drive it in the rain, I drive it in the snow, sees tons of water, and the driver's side finally failed. It was really weird how it failed. The turn signal was just acting really erratic. And then my halos here are switchbacks. And when I turn my car on, they should be on just white like you see them now. And they would instantly turn on to amber for some reason. And then when I turned my turn signal on, I would get this really weird erratic flashing on the driver's side. Really strange. So I ended up finding out it was the side marker. I will show you what happened to it in this video. And the second reason I'm making this video is there's actually multiple versions of these things out there. Now, I always assumed they're all identical because the housings all look the same. They wire up the same. They respond the same. They absolutely do not. I've had so many messages over the last 2 years saying people followed exactly what I did and they went with the daytime running light option, leaving it hooked up, and it just was not working correctly. So I got this off Amazon. I was bench testing it, and these will absolutely not work plug and play. They will absolutely not work with your daytime running lights connected, and you have to run a 12 volt ignition power wire to them. It won't work. I will show you exactly why in this video. Let's do it. All right, so here is the problem with the new Amazon light. So you absolutely cannot use this without disabling your daytime running lights. I will bench test that because I've already done it on my car. So if you just plug and play, think they're gonna work, when your headlights are off, the flasher is gonna be really erratic. See, it needs constant power the way this one's designed. So now with my headlights on, the headlight turns on the halo, and now you get an actual smooth flash. So you have a major problem right there. During the daytime, it's just gonna look like it's on crack. It's gonna be completely erratic all over the place. Please don't mind any dog hair. Anyone with dogs that shed will understand it's impossible to keep it off. I am actually filming this entire section because of all the dog hair. So the question is, what failed on the original light? Well, it's actually very, very simple. You have these connectors here. They duplicate a 3157 bulb that plug in, and you can see the small little metal tab right there, the bent over wire. Well, the other one is gone. What happened is it just rusted up. It broke off of this connector and it shorted out to the constant power that I'm running, which is why my halo was staying on constant power. So I probably should have put dielectric grease in there. That may have helped. I noticed when I unplugged the factory socket in the bottom, some water did come out. And the reason why the water got in there, well, these factory ones, you can see this seam right here. So where the actual lens meets the housing, I'm guessing water is getting in there. I don't see any other possible way it could. So on the new one, I actually ran silicone all the way around the entire edge. Hopefully that doesn't ever happen again. And I was actually able to get this working again. All I did, I stripped the wire, I hooked up wire directly to it, and this one is actually working perfectly now. So for $5, I ordered another one of these plugs. I guess I will have this as a spare. All right, so on this new Amazon version, this is why you have to disable your daytime running lights. Now on the old version, you didn't have to. You didn't have to hook up the halo wire if you didn't want to. What would happen is when you start your car, the two amber LEDs will come on, they'll stay on constant, and then when you hit your turn signal, it'll sequence outwards and it'll look good. And what I did in my father-in-law's car is I hooked this up that way, and then I hooked the little white wire coming from the light here to his headlight signal, which is the brown wire of the connector, and then the halo would come on at night and the turn signals work perfect. So now, but here's the problem. On the new version, you cannot do that. You have to disable the daytime running lights, because this is what happens if you don't. Is if you just plug it in, think you're good to go, when you start your car, it's going to do this. It's going to just strobe like crazy. Doesn't matter if your turn signal is on or off, which they make these things, and I don't think when they design these things, they fully understand how these cars are wired. So what you have to do is you actually have to hook up the white wire of the light to a 12 volt constant power, and there are two ways you can do that. That way the halo now is your daytime running light because it's getting 12 volt constant power, and then when you hit your turn signal, you will get a nice pulse like that. So you don't have to modify that wire. Now, as I said, there's two ways you can do this. Number one, let's say this is your factory connector on the car, the color is a little different. You would have to basically cut the brown wire, and then the brown coming out of the connector, you would hook that up to 12 volt ignition power. What I did on mine, not this one because this is not in the car now, but I didn't want to do that because I don't like cutting these factory harnesses. The problem is it's a very thick wire. It's usually kind of corroded by now, and it's extremely difficult to solder to. I'm really good at soldering, and it's hard to do. So what I did here is I actually cut the wire of the plug of the light. I drilled a small hole on the bottom here, and then I fed the wire out that way, and then I just hooked up to the wire I already have running the car. I mean, like I said, I could have just cut the brown wire on the connector, and then it would plug and play, and it'd all be like a nice looking unit, but I just did not want to do that way. And of course, with these, never forget to plug the resistor on. Okay, the million-dollar question is, you just got your light in. Well, how do you know what version you got, and how do you know how to wire this thing up? So what I recommend, don't even disable your daytime running lights. Don't uninstall your factory housing from underneath the car. Just unplug the actual socket from the bottom, pull the bulb out, plug this in, and see what it does. If you start your car and it goes on and stays on, well, now you have options. This could technically be your daytime running light. I think that looks good. And then as your turn signal pulses, you know, it'll do this during the daytime, and you're good to go. And then you have options on how to hook up the halo for nighttime use. Now in this version 1 for the halo, you have some options. So you can run the white wire that comes out the bottom right here to a 12-volt ignition power source, or you can connect it to the factory harness. It will have a brown wire. You just need to strip a little back, connect to that, and then when you turn your headlights on, you'll get your halo. And then when your actual turn signal pulses, you'll get that. So you can either hook it up to 12-volt ignition source or hook it up to the actual headlight wire. Now you might luck out and you might get this type of electronics with the new style plug that has 3 wires going to the plug itself. With that, I don't know if that even exists, but you'll just be able to plug it into the factory socket, and you'll get the solid yellow lights during the daytime. The turn signals will work out perfect, and then when you turn your headlights on, you'll get the halo just like that. Now if you get version 2, again, the light is just hanging loosely underneath the car. You just plugged it in to the factory socket, and you start your car, and it does this. You have no choice. You have to disable your daytime running lights. Otherwise, you're kind of out of luck. Now, you could, like I said, you can disable your daytime running lights and not run a 12-volt ignition power. But then the problem is you're going to get this weird, unless you have the literally perfect timing turn signal flasher, it's going to be very erratic like that. So 12-volt ignition power hooked up to the white wire on the light here. Now you can always, like I said, there's 2 options. You have the factory harness under the car. You can cut the brown wire, hook up your 12-volt ignition wire to the brown wire of the harness, or what I did, I cut the white wire in the plug, and I drilled a hole in the bottom, and the white wire comes out that way, and I soldered it that way. That to me, is really the only way. So daytime running light will be your halo, controlled by your 12-volt ignition power. And then as your turn signal goes, day or nighttime, you'll get a nice constant flash. It does not matter the timing of your flasher. It'll always look like that. All right, and this is all hooked up. As you can see, I have a nice control flash. It's not all spastic looking. Looks great. Nice, perfect, easy drop in. So with the silicone on here and the other mods, hopefully this lasts more than 2 years, because these things are not inexpensive. They're almost $90 a pair, which is kind of a lot. If I lose one again, I'm probably going to just go to a regular smoked housing and just regular bulbs back in there, because I don't want to have to keep changing these out every couple of years. Hope that helped. If you have any questions, just send me a message anytime. I try to respond to everybody. Thanks for watching.